We're talking a little bit ago about what the Texans would do with that number 2 overall selection. Perhaps they do trade up from the 12 spot as well and get picks 2 and 3. Right now, what the odds board is telling us is that Will Anderson is a minus 350 favorite to be the number 2 overall selection, and Stroud, even money bet still, the favorite, however, to go number 3. That would make sense if the Texans ultimately did trade up. Currently, the Arizona Cardinals have the number 3 overall selection. Do they listen to Kyler and go offensive line like you mentioned in your column yesterday? What do you think happens there with Arizona?
I think what happens with Arizona is they're out shopping this pick.
Yeah, they're considering trade offers.
They've been shopping this pick for a long time. I mean, I said on my podcast, they're like the piano store that always has a sale. Like, they're going to have a sale on something. Now, can Tennessee come up to get it? Can Houston come up to get it? There's a lot of speculation in the league that Tennessee wants to remodel their team. And it could start with C.J. Stroud at quarterback, and it could start with trading Derrick Henry. That would be a remodel. Remember, they have $27 million of money available to them that they could use, called Ryan Tannehill, to help them get away. They haven't done anything with Tannehill's contract because they don't want any lingering effects. So I think Rand Carthon is in the remodeling business. I think he needs to change this team. And the only way you can change the team is because they're so ingrained in the Derrick Henry system, and they don't throw the ball very effectively. It's hard for them. So would they trade up to get C.J. Stroud, keep Tannehill on the team, perhaps trade Henry if they could? I think that they're an interesting team to look at to trade up, just as Houston. If Houston decides to go and pick a really good player at 2, and then they try to use 12 to get back up. So between 11 and 12, those two teams seem to be the target, and there's enough in their arsenal to make it happen. For Tampa to go from 19 to 2, that's 3. That's a harder thing to do.
So if teams were trading up, though, it seems like you feel like it would be for C.J. Stroud and not for anyone else, despite all of the steam that we've seen on Will Levis over the last 48 to 72 hours.
I was told this morning driving in here early that it was going to be Levis at 2.
Really?
I don't have any feel for who likes the quarterbacks. I mean, I've heard Levis to Indianapolis. I've heard Levis to Houston. I know Nick really well. I've been in the draft room with Nick. I'd have a hard time seeing him liking like Anthony Richardson. I'd have a hard time seeing him falling in love with Stroud. I could see him liking Levis. I could see that. But he knows if he doesn't get to 3, he's not getting Levis. If he can control 2 and 3, he can get the quarterback he wants and he get the defensive player he wants. It's going to be costly, though.
Levis is plus 750 to go number 2 overall or number 3 overall. So plus 750 on both of those odds boards. He's 3-1 to be the second quarterback selected where things sit right now. I feel like most people coming in had Will Levis largely pegged to be that number 4 overall selection to the Indianapolis Colts based on the feel of Shane Steichen and what they would like out there. But you think he could go earlier still? I
mean, look, I think everything's a guess at this point. We had
it really is. I can't get over it. We don't know.
Rick Venturi, I don't have a full sense of comfortability. Do I think the Colts take Stroud? I don't. But, do I think they take Richardson? It makes more sense than Stroud, even though Stroud played better in college football than Richardson has. But if you're Shane Steichen and you want to develop the 6-back offense like you've developed in Philadelphia and you want to carry that over, which obviously you wouldn't have signed Gardner Minshew if you didn't want to kind of keep the system in Philly the same. Not that Minshew can run it. But to me, the Richardson pick makes sense, but he doesn't make sense that he's going to have a hard time playing right away.
Well, I kind of hope that he doesn't because I like his over 7.5 draft position. So I would like Anthony Richardson to fall out of the top 8.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I've been saying, like, I don't believe that any of these quarterbacks are top 10 quarterbacks with the exception of Bryce Young. That being said, the desperation and the social media pressure and the pressure from the owners and the owners' ability to just change course at a moment's notice because they've got so much invested in these franchises that I think it adds layers to the complicated matter that you're trying to overvalue. We're lying to ourselves to think any of these quarterbacks are going to be elite. We really are.
And it definitely does feel like that social media and like outward linear media pressure impacts the owners a lot more than it does the coaches and GMs.
Absolutely it does. They sit there. They don't like driving to work and listening to them getting hammered on the radio. They don't like all their friends at the country club telling them how bad they are. Why do you think Woody Johnson went all in on Aaron Rodgers? He got tired. He's tired of, he was over in Ireland for 2 years. He got tired of taking a beating at his country club. He got tired of taking, they do. They get tired. When are you ever going to win, Woody? Okay, now I'm going to win. We're going to get this guy in here. We're going to win. I think that's a lot. Cal McNair's the same way. It'll be interesting to see with this value of the team, Washington at $6.05 billion, if there's anybody else that sells at this number, because this is staggering, the value of these franchises. And they're going to be run more corporate than ever before. And corporate is going to allow the social media to impact what your decision making.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.